Hello, my name is Mashonda Kennerson, and this is my interpersonal communication project on behalf of Dr. Stephanie Lewis, Human Services 508 at Liberty University. Prior to taking this class, Human Services 508, Interpersonal Communication, I had some views on communication that were not quite accurate. I believe that communication consisted mostly of talking, not really a whole lot of listening, but mostly talking, giving advice, good advice, not interrupting the speaker, and sympathizing with them. However, through the course of this class and reading the required text and participating in the activities, I have learned that communication involves not just talking, but also listening. It involves clarifying, which means it's okay to interrupt at times just to make sure that you and the speaker are on the correct page, and empathizing with them, not feeling sorry for them, but understanding where they're coming from and what they're going through. As you can see from my next slide, I have identified my overarching goal in life and enlarging conversation, and it is to not judge or totalize. And I reached my overarching goal from two of the selected texts, which was Stewart text, Bridges Not Walls, and the Burley Allen text. Um, According to Woods, which was quoted in Stewart, scholars use the term totalize to describe communication that emphasizes one aspect of a person above all others. And from the Burley Allen text, to make listening work for you, do the following. Avoid being critical and judgmental. Next, you will see how being judgmental and totalizing has influences on my life. It influences my relationships with my family and friends. It influences my relationships with my students. And it influences my relationship with God, and not all in positive ways. Deciding not to totalize or be judgmental will have a positive effect on communication in every arena of my life. Next, you will see why this goal is needed. This goal is needed because I am a Christian above all. And John chapter 1 verse 2 tells us, John chapter 1 verses 1 and 2 tell us to judge not, for you will be judged. I'm going to have to meet God one day and be judged on the things that I have done here on earth. And I don't want to hear him say, "Depart from me, I know you not," because I have been judgmental and critical all of my life. I don't want that to keep me from living with him eternally. Um, Next, this goal is needed because I am an educator. My students look up to me and depend on me to receive a quality education regardless. And and even though the ironic part about it, I don't totalize against my students. I actually get very defensive when people refer to them as, oh, they're slow, or they're disabled, and this, that, and the other, and looking at them and seeing only ADHD, or looking at them and seeing only bipolar. I can get pretty defensive, but when it comes to my personal life with my family and friends, I find myself doing some of the same things, only seeing the alcoholism, only seeing the drug addiction or the promiscuity. Lastly, this goal is needed because I am a daughter and I am a friend. I'm a human being. I'm no better than the next person. And for me to be critical of them is horrible. God created all of us in his image, and we're all equal in his sight. And I could be in some of the same situations that they are, the same situations that I'm sitting here judging them on. That could be me. That's why this goal is needed. However, if you take a look at my next slide, there are some positive influences that make me believe, okay, there is hope after all. I can turn this thing around. I was raised in the church, My grandmother and my mother made sure that I had that I was there every day with God and in church and Bible study. Every time the doors open, I was there. So I have that Christian background. Um, my CIS behavior blend also tells me that there's hope. It's a positive influence on my communication. People turn to me. They look up to me as being the life of the party, as being the one that they can come to. But and I have strong people skills because of that, um, and I'm sensitive to the needs of others. However, there are also some negative influences you can see from the next slide that influence my communication in a negative way. I very rarely verbalize the negative thoughts, but that doesn't make it right. I People can sometimes become offended with my judgmental behavior based on Carbonell 2008. I um, Sometimes when I miss time from church or I don't spend as much time in the presence of God being prayed up, I notice that I tend to do things more, tend to judge more, tend to be more critical in doing things that are not of Christ. And I also notice that when I surround myself with negative people, it also has a negative influence on my communication. Potential barriers from the next slide in my interpersonal communication: listening to myself more than the talker. I need to put what's going on in my head to the side and listen more to the person talking. I find myself totalizing during the conversation, which can also be displayed through my nonverbal communication. And I become very irritated and agitated at times when I am listening to someone's problem, which is something that I really need to work on before becoming a counselor or even staying in my current field as an educator. Um, Noise pollution, as identified by Burley Allen. Um, Often people are not aware of things that they are saying to themselves, which in turn can lead to a lot of negative dialogue. As you can see from my next slide, I have identified internal and external noise pollution. Just negative thoughts within my head, negative thoughts from my family that have resulted in almost ruining my life. I almost didn't pursue goals that I had or dreams that I had, but in the end, I was able to push the negative thoughts aside and reclaim my life. Lastly, on my last slide, I have identified a plan of action. Step one, identify the need, which I have done through my reflective journals and this interpersonal communication project. Secondly, pray for guidance. God will lead me and guide me in the way that He will have me to go. He will guide my thoughts. He will guide my tongue. But I have to ask Him to come in and be with me during this endeavor. Step 3, based on Burley and Allen, I need to modify my belief system. Look at the negative thoughts. See what I can do to turn them positive. Step 4, disclose myself to my family and friends. If I'm feeling this way, there's a way that I can go to them and tell them how I'm feeling without hurting their feelings, without making them feel less of a person. And then we can attack it together. Step 5, work on developing my listening skills. Burley and Allen suggest that I listen from my heart instead of my mind, which will help me guard against being judgmental. Step 6, recognize my role as the talker and listener, knowing when to ask for clarification, knowing when to provide safety, knowing when to just let go and give them all of me. And step 7, keep my relationship with God current. Stay prayed up, stay with Him, and keep my communication open with Him. This is my interpersonal communication project. Thank you and have a blessed day.